Hey everyone, it's Eric at Just Add Power, and in this video, we're looking at how to set up a standard video wall with either a 3G or a MaxColor system. There's a few things that make a video wall, quote, standard. First is that all of your TVs are going to be the same size, so you just get 4 of the same TV if you're doing a 2x2, or 9 if you're doing a 3x3, whatever size you get all the same TV. Second thing is that all of the displays are going to be the same orientation, so either everything's landscape or everything's portrait. Then you have to mount all the displays edge to edge in a grid, kind of like what you're seeing here on the picture, where it's just like a bigger TV, just made of lots of smaller TVs. And a standard video wall also needs one Just Add Power receiver behind each display. So for what you're seeing here, we need 4 receivers. And when you do all of that, it gives you the ability to either do lots of smaller pictures on individual TVs, like what you're seeing here right now, or if we take, for example, the soccer in the top right corner, we want to spread that up over all 4 of the TVs. We can go in and out of wall mode, put any of the sources across the full wall. The first thing we do to set up the wall is just treat the receivers in the video wall like they're any other receiver on a regular TV in the rest of the system. So we're going to run our configuration software, and we're going to set up all our transmitters and all our receivers. We've got 4 standard receivers in the system. We're not going to reference those because they're not in a wall. And then our video wall receivers are actually numbers 5, 6, 7, and 8. We're going to do it like we're reading a book, top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right, in that order. And we've got IP addresses for those 4 receivers in the wall. And this is going to be important when we actually are assigning them positions. But we've got our initial setup. Now we move on to actually building the wall. Now from this point, you're looking at all your TVs, you've got all your sources connected. Right now, what you're seeing on the video wall TVs is you're seeing the first source, most likely, the Roku, and it's on all 4 of the TVs, but it's just a single picture on all the TVs. So we got to get to building it into a full video wall. And to do that, we go to the web interface of any receiver in the system. It doesn't even have to be a video wall receiver. We're just using one receiver to set up everybody else. So we're going to use the first receiver in the system, but there's no reason you couldn't just use any of these in there. So we've got our receiver web interface open. You can see it right here and up in our URL bar at the top. And we're going to go to the left menu. And we're going to pick the wall tab. Setting up a video wall is a 3-step process. You can see a 1, a 2, and a 3 here. Now it's going to start by just giving us a random wall name. We get an opportunity to change that later. But the first thing we have to do is, you got a little measuring stick there, is we have to measure one of the TVs in the wall. And since they're all the same size, we measure one, we know the size of everything. So get out your handy dandy tape measure, give it to the guy who's best at being accurate with the tape measure, and we're going to measure 4 things. We're going to measure the outside width, that's the physical frame of the TV from left to right. If you've got a portrait, it's still going to be the width, like the wider side. And then we measure the outside height of the TV. That's the frame from top to bottom. And then we got to measure the viewable width and the viewable height. And so that is the pixel to pixel left to right distance for width, and the pixel to pixel top to bottom difference. So you really do want video on the TVs as you do this, because if you've got a black screen, it might be hard to tell what black is the frame and what black is actually the black pixels. So we measured our bezels. We got 43.25 for the outside width. We got 24.75 for the outside height. We got 42.25 for the viewable width, and we got 23.75 for the viewable height. So we've got about an inch bezel all the way around the TV. It's the difference between the viewable part and the not viewable part of the frame. It's about an inch. And now you're probably going, oh my God, these bezels, they're so giant. Like, how do you have an inch between TVs? Why would you use those in a wall? And you can use any kind of TV for a video wall. An inch gap might be a little too large. So if you got fancy video wall TVs with no bezel whatsoever, where that black border around the TV is essentially 0, you actually get to skip this part. You put 1 for every value, because really those numbers are just to tell us how big the frame of the TV is, so we know how much to take out when we're going from one screen to the next. So fancy video wall TVs, definitely better experience, saves you a step. So we're going to go back to our old values, and we're going to move on to step 2. Step 2 tells us how are your TVs essentially oriented. The standard's going to be just all the TVs are landscape like they are normally. You pick that one. Inverted top row is a unique positioning for walls that have 2 rows, where you can take the top TVs and flip them upside down. Usually this goes because most TVs have a larger bottom bezel if you do have TVs with bezel. And so it lets you put the thin bezel up against each other in the middle. But it only works for 2 rows in a video wall. If you've got portrait, you can do the bottom on the left side or the bottom on the right side. You just pick those icons if you need them. We've got a standard wall. Well, sorry, we've got standard orientation for our standard video wall. So we've selected our orientation. We're moving on to step 3. Step 3 is where we tell it the size and positioning for everyone. So we have 2 rows and 2 columns in our wall, and when we update this, you're going to see the little icons adjust to the size of our wall. If we had a bigger wall, like a 4x4, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to kind of give us the size overall of what our wall is. So we're going to go back to 2 and 2. And then we get an opportunity to give this wall a name. This is our lobby wall. Just in case we have multiple walls, we know which one's which. And then we move to assign position for each receiver in the wall. So we get a top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. And we're going to click the top left one. We're going to assign the IP address for the one that's in the top left, the receiver in the top left. So let's look at our report file here. Let's shrink that guy down, go here. So we've got a report file. It's got 1.5s in the top left corner, but you might go, oh no, I don't have a report file. So how do I get the IP of these things? So down here on the bottom left of the video wall settings window, there's a little eyeball that says on. If you click that button, the little eyeball dance, and then up on the screens, you're going to see an IP address that for each TV. You're going to see little green numbers for each one of the TVs. So you want to click that one, maybe even if you have the report file, because hopefully you wired things the way you thought you wired. It's just a good confirmation. So now let's actually get to assigning. So we got our top left, 1.5. Click top left, it'll turn orange. Go down to our drop down, 1.5. Top right, 1.6. And you'll see 1.5 is grayed out because it's been assigned. Bottom left, 1.7. Bottom right, 1.8. So now all 4 of the TVs in the wall have been assigned. Last thing to do is apply. Boop. And our video wall has gone into video wall mode. The bezels have been applied. If things needed rotating, they've been rotated as well. And now we just need to get rid of those annoying little green numbers. We click the eyeball off, and the green numbers go away. And we've got a wall. If you've got other video walls in the system, you just repeat this process for each one. You measure your TVs, enter your measurements, choose your orientation, go through, tell it the size of the wall, and assign positions to each one of the receivers in the wall. If you have any other questions or need some assistance setting up a wall, please give us a call at support. We'd love to help you out. And thanks for watching.